Hey guys, Scott with the Davidson Realty team, Real Estate Made Easy. I wanted to share with you what closing costs are. We get a lot of questions because we're working with a lot of buyers and sellers, and both sides actually ask the question, how much are closing costs, what are they for, etc. What am I responsible for, stuff like that. In some states, I will tell you, like California and Florida and New York, it's typical in a real estate scenario that the buyer pays all their own closing costs. So you're getting it down to an offer price and then they pay their own closing costs. In Georgia, it's very typical that the seller and the buyer often split them. There is no rule about this. This is all part of the negotiation. But I wanted to share with you what they are nevertheless. So typical closing costs in a transaction, you have the attorney's fees. That's usually a set fee, whether it's a $70,000 house or whether it's a $700,000 house, that's typically a set fee. The title insurance, though, is a percentage, and title insurance basically allows for you to have a peace of mind so that nobody comes back and says, my grandfather owned this property and they never had a right to sell you this property, so I'm taking it back. So that's what title insurance protects you against. The banks who have the loan on your house potentially, they are also wanting title insurance because they don't want their collateral taken for no good reason. Sometimes you'll have a survey or maybe an appraisal on the closing costs. Sometimes they're paid out of closing as an outside fee, like the buyer has to give a credit card to the lender so they can charge the appraisal outside just in case for whatever reason it never closes. Taxes, that's a loaded one. You've got the property taxes. So sometimes the property taxes are always going to be prorated from the day you close. So if you owned it from January 1st to February 15th, then it's going to have those 46 days that you get charged for living in the house. The buyer will pay the rest of the year. The other taxes are intangibles. That's just a county tax they're going to take based on the sales price. And then you have like transfer taxes and stuff like that as well. Then you have HOA fees, also prorated on the day of closing. So same situation, they might be $300 a year. Let's just say, for example, your HOA taxes or your fees were $365 a year. Well, then obviously if you lived there for 60 days this year, you'd pay 60 of that dollars, but you would have paid it probably January 1st anyways. And if you haven't paid it, the attorney will charge you and back charge you for that. Mortgage insurance premium. If you have an FHA loan, they want that premium right up front. Might be 1.25, 1.75% depending on your kind of loan, and they'll charge that right to your closing costs that you have to bring to the table. Points. On a buyer side, they might say, well, the typical interest rate right now is 5%, but we would really like a 4% interest rate. Well, for a certain amount of money up front, you can basically buy that interest rate down, right? So that can go on there as points, and the lender can manipulate your interest rate to come down. That being said, most sellers don't want to pay that because they could really care less if you got 1% or 11%. Their whole thing is they want to sell the house, but the buyer, that's very important because they want to get it in a budget, right? So, and then you have lender fees, you have underwriting fees, you have wire fees, you have different things like that. So all those things put together come up with closing costs. What's a good overall number? Let's just say if you're under $250,000, the typical closing cost might be between $6,000 and $9,000, and if you're above $250,000, it might be from $7,000 to $10,000, and then it escalates from there. Because, like I said, this is based on a percentage; these are fixed fees. So it depends on your sales price and also how much you're borrowing too. That also plays into the whole calculation of how much it is. So I hope this helped you a little bit. If you have any more questions on it, give me a call. And if I can't answer your question, I'll connect you with one of our great attorneys that we have. We have 2 preferred attorneys that we use all the time. We have 4 preferred lenders. So we can connect you with all the right people that answer those questions to the penny. This is just a good overview, and I hope it helped you. Hope you have a great day. Call me with any questions.